about yesterday, but I think we've got it working today.
You do?
We do? Do we?
Hello?
I hope
I'll
so.
let you know.
It says live. Good morning. It's Monday morning, and we are about to offer Psalm 74 in our daily offering of these amazing Psalms. And we have, I think it's 24 days left. Good morning. There we go. It's working. Turn it.
What are you wearing?
Yep. So that's we can tell. This is quite a remarkable psalm. We're still with this Asaph, who's giving us instruction. And I don't know, just this psalm is about what happens when you hit bottom. And our psalmist is seeing this as a good thing. So, again, these psalms, they take you to the truth. They take you to the heart of what's happening, and then they lift us up. They take us there, and then they dare to challenge us to have a day of lift. So we always have been trying to begin with Misha Berach, with a healing prayer. Lots of healing today. Healing for the family of little Lizzie. Healing for Sam and Jack. Healing for Lewis and the people we know that have COVID. Hope Tommy and his family are healing. And healing for Corinne and her baby, getting closer and closer to a time when it will be safe to deliver that baby. I know you hold many people in your hearts, and you're thinking about lots of people. Those healthcare workers that are overwhelmed in the hospitals. We're praying for them to have strength and to stay healthy. We need them. But we also need to do what we need to do so that we're part of the healing. Ready? Let's offer a Misha Berach.
Refuat hanefesh urefuat haguf. Refuat hanefesh urefuat haguf, for the healing of the spirit, the healing of the body. For those we know, for those who don't know. On my right, the angel Michael. On my left, the angel Gabriel. In front of me, angel Uriel. Behind me, Raphael. Above my head, Shekhinah. Michael, who is like God. Gabriel, God is my strength. Uriel, God is my light. Raphael, God is my healer. Above my head, Shekhinah. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim. Blessed are you, great healer. Amen.
And now a prayer for learning. Learning to keep us on a holy path.
Make the words of your teachings pleasant on the lips and the lips of all of those that come into our circle. For we may spend the time, we can spend the time in learning for the pleasure of it and for its implications in our lives. The works of our hands.
Good morning, Barbara.
Maseyadim.
Good morning, Susie.
Zaharevna Adonai Eloheinu Divrei Toratcha b'finu v'nihiyeh Nachnu
Does
v'tzitzai
feel a bit like a family here.
v'tzitzai Amcha Beit Yisrael. All of us learning for pleasure and
We
for
are learning together.
implications. Whoever comes into our circles. Baruch atah Adonai hamelamed Torah le'amu Yisrael. Blessed are you. Lomdei Toratecha lishma. He teaches in this fashion for its own sake and for its implications.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Psalm 74 begins Maskil Asaph, right? This is going to be an instruction from Asaph, this psalmist we are learning with now, Asaph, the addition, a little bit more. And, you know, it begins with this notion that we've been forsaken. But Asaph turns it into something positive, right? Where do you want to? Yeah, this guy is great. He turns it into something positive. He says, okay, you're going to hit bottom. And so you're going to know that the only way is up. So there will be redemption. Asaph is not giving up. As terrible as things get, Asaph is not giving up. And I think that a basic message in this psalm is that we are the metaphor of the temple. The temple is destroyed now. In this psalm, we learn about the destruction of the temple. We don't know which destruction, but the destruction of the temple is definitely on this psalmist's mind and in his heart. And the destruction of the temple is the destruction of everything that's important to us, our moral center. The destruction of everything we believe in has been challenged here by the leadership, by the ruler.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, go ahead.
The superscription of Maskil is curious. We don't really exactly know, but there's like 13 psalms that have this in the epigraph.
Right.
In the epigram. The to Maskil. And some of them seem to be like instructional in nature. Sechel Maskil, the one who knows.
Right.
You know, who
What
gives
else?
over wisdom.
What else could it be?
Well, it could be like
enlightenment.
Some people think it's a musical instrument.
Ah, right. Right.
So.
Yeah, someplace you can get to only, you know.
Some people think it's a more of a kind of a didactic
right.
message in it. There's a specific message in it, you know.
Well, I think the secret is in.
Thank goodness there's only 13 of those.
That's right. I think they're wonderful. So it begins. Hirsch and let's see, how does he? Hirsch says, so Zlotowitz says a maskil of Asaph. That's a big help. But Hirsch calls it an instruction by Asaph. Lama, right? For what purpose? What is my purpose here? It's asking about the purpose again. You know, what's your purpose?
But I think it's a question. What have you thrown me away?
Right.
You've thrown me away forever?
Lama, have you forsaken us?
Plus, it's so ultimate, you know. When you're down, you think it's ultimate. You think it's never going to change.
You're hitting bottom here.
What, you've thrown me away forever?
Yeah. Shall your anger continue to smolder against the sheep of your pasture? Beautiful image.
I'm going to take that sheep out. I'll be right back.
All right. I'll just keep going here because the answer is to remember. Okay. Remember us. We will remember where we've been. We will remember where you've taken us. That is there. So there are two keys in verse 2, I think, that help us not lose faith when we hit bottom, because this is definitely hitting bottom here. So we're hitting bottom, and there are two things we have to do. We have to remember. Zachor, remember? Zachor Shabbat, Zachor, remember, where you've been. Remember who you are. So Zecher or Zachor, um, remember us, and we will remember. And then it says, so remember, it is your congregation. You have acquired us of old. We belong to you, God. We belong to you. We're not going anywhere. We belong to you. I feel that sometimes. I really do. I feel like as difficult as, life gets, I'm kind of stuck with this story that saves my life every day somehow. You have redeemed it. It is the tribe of your inheritance. We're your family. You're our family. But then here is here's the other secret. It is the mountain of Zion, the one upon which you have revealed your presence. But in the Hebrew, it's the word that's used is shachanta bo, shachanta bo. So the presence is the presence of God within. So the two secrets to when you hit bottom are don't forget who you are. Don't forget to what you belong, your story, and also remember that this God thing that we're talking about here, this faith, is not something outside. It's something inside. That's why it can't be taken from you. It feels like it is sometimes. Remember, we talked yesterday and the day before about the pickle heart, the heart that goes sour because of all the pain, because of all the disappointment, because of all the betrayal that happens in life. That pickle heart, the one that goes sour with vinegar. But here we're reminded, remember who you are, remember your story, and remember Shachanta Bo. That whatever that is, that holy presence, that faith, that source, it's in the indwelling of God. This is not an outdwelling. So if we Jim took the dogs out, so I can say this. He doesn't like it when I make the nimshal, But this is such a good psalm for thinking about what's happened in this country, that our temple, right, our nation, our democracy, it has lost, or maybe never really had. It's the kind of moral center that we've wanted it to have, that we've yearned for it to have. And now we're really seeing what's happened in our government, in our White House, our sanctuary there. It's been desecrated. It's so desecrated. But the truth is, the moral center, what we know is right, lives within us. And so all we need to do is grow that, and there will be, it says, there will be redemption. So verse 3, lift up your steps to the sights of hope, the sight of hopes that have been buried. The foe has wrought total havoc in the sanctuary, right? That's clear. But we have to dig deep, and we have to find it. Verse 4, it was as though your oppressors that have raged in the midst of your meeting place. What they've done is they've set up their own signs as signs. Remember that happened literally in the temple in the Hellenistic period. The temple was taken over, and that's what's happened today. Our institutions have been taken over, and they've set up their own signs, their own values, their own morals as what's most important. But we're going to be reminded what's most important. So verse 5, he is regarded as if he had come to be on high, and yet they were but axes in the thicket of trees. In other words, the evildoers, the bad guys, the ones that have taken over the sanctuary, they are, they're destroying everything. And verse 6, with hammer and chisel, they chip away, even at the ornaments, even at the things that are beautiful, the things that aren't, the extra things. They're even destroying that. Why? So verse 7, they have consigned thy sanctuary to fire. They have profaned your abode, the abode of your name, even to the ground. And so they've burnt it down. They've burnt it down. It's going to have to be built back up again because they've gone too far. They've burnt it down. And we know that the sanctuary was burnt down. There's this great story about Yochanan ben Zakkai when the temple in Jerusalem was being destroyed. The zealots said, we're going to go down with the sanctuary. We're going to go down with the temple. And Yochanan got his students to put him in a coffin because the only things that were allowed, the only people that were allowed to leave were the dead. So he got his students to put him in a coffin and carry him out. And he made his way to the general and said, I'm going to go start a school somewhere. He said, that doesn't matter. So he did. He went to Yaffo, I think, at first and started a yeshiva, and that's at least the legend. Because he knew that it wasn't ultimately the building. It was the ideas. It was the teaching. It was the learning. And a whole new, we reinvented ourselves as Jews at that time. When we lost the temple, we reinvented ourselves and we became even better. And I think that's what this is a nod to. Verse 8, they have said in their heart, future generations altogether. Thus they have burned up all the meeting places of God on earth. Yavna. So they have burned up all the meeting places of God on earth. And so, they think that they can destroy what we stand for. They think that they can destroy our moral center by destroying our sanctuaries, but they don't remember. They don't know Shachantibo, that moral center is within us. Verse 9, for our own signs we have not seen. There are no longer any prophets, and there is none in our midst that knows what the end will be. And that could be. I mean, we could feel that now. We've lost our way, and we're looking for prophets. But we may not be in a prophetic age anymore. It may be something that's more within each of us to do. And we don't know what the end will be, but we have to learn to live in this place of uncertainty, guided by that moral center. So verse 10, Ad Matai. This is one of those moments. How long, God, shall the oppressor insult? Because we just don't know, right? We don't know. Ad Matai. How long? How do we live with this uncertainty right now? What's the secret? And again, it's to remember and to know that there is still godliness within us. So, Ad Matai, how long, God, will the oppressor insult? Shall the foe blaspheme thy name forward? We don't really know. But we ask, Lama, verse 11, why do you withdraw your left hand and your right hand? Usually you leave us the right hand, but you are withdrawn from us. We are hitting bottom here. Should desecration spring forth from within you? No. And yet, Elohim, godliness, goodness, the plurality of godliness, all of the attributes of godliness, is my ruler from days of old, the purposeful creator of manifold works of salvation in the midst of the earth. Come on back, Jim. Verse 13. Atah, you did part the sea. And so here we have the remembering, right? You did part the sea with your invincible might. I'm not forgetting. I'm remembering. I may not feel it right now. I may feel lost. I may, with my pickle heart, be broken and feel like I'm sad beyond redemption. But we're going to get to what the real heart of the matter is in a moment. For you did part the sea with your invincible might. You did shatter the heads of the sea people upon the waters. You know, the ones who would do us evil. Sea people could be the Philistines, you know, too. You have crushed the heads of the Leviathan. I'm sure Jimmy would have something to say about that. That's such a good image. You know, the many-headed monster that would devour us. You give him as prey to the nation destined to be the wanderers in the wilderness. You know, we may still be wandering. Verse 15, you have caused fountain and brook to spring forth. You have dried up the rivers of antiquity. Verse 16, yours is the day, yours is the night. You have prepared the light bearer and the sun. So get ready. You have set all the borders of the earth. Summer and winter have fashioned them. And so there's, I think, a shout out to nature, to the natural world. You know, we've destroyed the temples. We've destroyed even the sanctuary. We've destroyed the institutions. But what's left is nature. You know, what's left are the rivers that, even though they may be emptied, are going to spring forth. And so even though the institutions have been destroyed, there is something left to build on. Consider this, verse 18. The enemy has insulted you, God, and a people of amoral man, it says, has blasphemed your name. Consider this.
An empty man.
Mm-hmm.
The empty man, he appears a couple times.
Yes. Verse 19.
Naval, Navela.
So here we go. Verse 19. This is, deliver not the soul of your turtle dove to the wild beasts.
Oh, the turtle dove. The song of the turtle dove.
That's it.
The voice of the turtle dove.
Right. The soul, the music. Don't let us lose our soul song to the wild beast.
Because the turtle dove is so vulnerable, you know.
Right.
It's such a beautiful song.
But here, and so here it is. This is what we're waiting for. What is it that we have to remember? Certainly that you parted the sea for us when we were vulnerable, when we were the poor. But what does it mean? Do not forget the life of the poor forever. Not us anymore. But now it's up to us not to forget the poor. So verse 20, look upon the covenant, for the dark expanses of the earth are full of the joyous habitations of violence. You know, it's out there. People are prospering on the backs of the poor, on those who are suffering. Oh, let the crushed one not turn back in shame. You know, they shouldn't be ashamed. There's nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, we need to be empowered here.
Come on, get up. Rise
Give
up.
the poor and defenseless cause to proclaim the praise of your name. Arise, O God. Fight your own fight. Remember, it is thee that amoral man insults all the day.
Fight your
Right?
fight.
Forget it not. It is the voice of your foes. It is the raving of those that rise up against you, which ascends insensibly. Don't forget. Don't forget. And that's to us, this don't forget. Don't forget. Right?
אל תשכח כל צורריך.
You know, the hatred and the attacks to which we have fallen victim are aimed at us for no other reason that we are yours. And that's what the secret is, right? Let's not forget what we belong to. We belong to something better, something higher, and that will sustain us.
Fight your fight. To Asaph, knowing, why, God, have you left us forever? An angry fire among sheep in your pasture? Remember your community, tribe of your inheritance. Lift up your steps, your enemy wrecked within the sanctuary. Inside your meetings, they roar, set up their signs as signs. But they are axes in a thicket of trees. They sculpt with a hammer and a chisel together, clipping, chipping away. They sent fire into the sanctuary, desecrated the Mishkan. They burned up the future, all the meeting places of God on earth. We have not seen our own signs. There is no more any prophet, and none among us knows what it is. How long, God? Enemies curse, oppressor insults your name forever. Why withdraw your hand, your right hand, from within your bosom?
Mm-hmm.
But God, my King, from early on, making salvations in the midst of the earth. You split the sea, broke the heads of sea monsters, crushed the heads of Leviathan, gave it over to the nation wandering in the wilderness.
Yeah.
You made fountains in the wilderness, dried up rivers of antiquity. Day is yours, night also yours. You prepared light and sun. You have set the borders of the earth, summer, winter. You fashioned them. Remember this. The enemy has insulted God.
Yes.
An empty person cursed your name. Do not give over the soul of a turtle dove to a wild animal. Do not forget the forgotten poor forever. Look to the covenant for the dark expanses of the earth, full of light pastures of violence. Do not turn back the crushed, poor, and defenseless. Arise, God. Fight your fight. Remember the empty man who insults you all day long. Do not forget the voice of your detractors, raging, rising up against you, ascending always. December 28th, 2020. Dilim on the ceiling.
Yeah. So, remembering that we belong to something bigger than ourselves. We hope that this offering of today's psalm, even though it may look like we're hitting bottom, it may look like our sanctuaries, our holy places have been destroyed. Nobody can take it from us. Thanks for joining us on this Monday morning with Psalm 74.
Learning for its own sake, blessed are you.
Yes, certainly for its own sake too. Sometimes it's nice to make a little connection. Feeling like the psalmist so long ago, whoever Asaph was, is calling to us today. to not lose hope and to remember the poor. We will do that. And hopefully this will keep working, and we will see you tomorrow. Anything else?
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day, a day of lift.